Hello, Internet. How's it going out there? I thought I'd file an update for you guys because, again, I know some of you are following along carefully and you're aware of certain dates that I've mentioned recently. And there has been a lot of new news and developments that have happened in the last week or so. And especially since I last posted a video, which has been 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm here on a Sunday afternoon, wanted to give you guys an update about what's been going on. I did make it to the clinic, to the hospital this past week. I was down there Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning. I just had the normal every 3-month check-in, which involves all kinds of labs, like just pretty much every kind of blood work that you can think of, including the CEA, which is the carcinoembryonic antigen, which is the tumor marker that they've always been using to follow my disease. And then just the the metabolic panels and complete blood count, all that stuff. You guys who have been through anything medically, you know what I'm talking about. Then also there was the CT scan. That is a very routine procedure as well. I've lost count of how many CT scans I've had in the last 2 years and 3 months. But anyway, the results came in very quickly, and I will preface everything I'm going to say from here on as in the context of the fact that I was not really surprised at all with what I saw and what the tests showed. My blood work is fine. Everything is pretty much according to expectation. There was a moderate rise in my CEA. It had been running really low for a long time, ever since my liver resection, which was in April of 23, now coming up on 2 years. Can you believe that? Ever since that liver resection, my CEA has been bouncing around between about 0.5 and 2.5, which is very good. But recently it had been hovering around that 0.5 to 1.0 level, which is as good as you can expect somebody with stage 4 colon cancer. My CEA is up to 3.7. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's still not a terrible number because my CEA was 103 when I was first diagnosed. And it took many rounds of chemo and the removal of my colon before it even dropped down to about 40 and then 25. So a 3.7 is still barely above the range of normal for a normal non-smoking adult, even without cancer. But again, everything has to be put into context of kind of the personal baseline. And considering the fact that my CEA has been in that 0.5 to 2.5 range for such a long time, a rise to 3.7 is an indicator that something's going on. And the CT results did show that. I have to say that every single thing on my CT scan, abdomen, pelvis, and chest, so it basically covers from here to here, every single thing on there was completely expected. There were no surprises whatsoever. The little tiny spots / lesions / nodules in my lungs remain very tiny, like on the order of millimeters. There's been no appreciable growth or multiplication. In fact, a lot of the stuff in my lungs is so ambiguous that it could be anything. Just the fact that we know that I have metastatic colon cancer causes us to watch that. But the things that are lighting up on the CT scan are not anything that they are concerned about, because there's no, like I said, there's no rapid multiplication and there's no rapid growth of anything. And they're all on the millimeter scale, like 2 and 3, and I think the largest 5 millimeters. Okay, then we move to the mid-abdomen down to the pelvic region, and there is on this CT scan there was nothing new, nothing that showed up that was not there before. However, all of the again, whatever word you want to use. I talked about this with my oncologist. What do we call them? Tumors? Do we call them nodes, nodules, lesions? What are they called? And she said, all of the above. You know, mass. Normally we use the words tumor and mass for growth, disease that is larger. Mine are all small. Like at the current moment, nothing is larger than about 2.5 centimeters. And so, you know, I guess it's more comforting to call them lesions or nodules. The point is, there's 2 of those on my liver that have grown, and they have more than doubled in size since October. So what was around 1 centimeter or a little less than 1 centimeter, 2 of these nodules are now around 2 centimeters. One of them is more than 2 centimeters. So they're growing since the last check 3 months ago. There's also a lymph node in my liver near one of the ducts of my liver that has grown slightly. I think it's 1.3 centimeters. And then we have these soft tissue nodules in my mid-abdomen, and they are floating in the abdomen. Not floating is not the right word. Should I say embedded in my abdominal fat? Basically, they're not connected to an organ. They are in the abdominal soft tissue, and I can feel them. And if you follow my videos very carefully, pay attention, you know that I've talked about them for a long time. There's 2 or 3 of them, and they are also getting up into the maybe 1.5 centimeter range, whereas 3 months ago, I can feel them. Like, it's right, you know, I've got 3 different incisions that go from my sternum all the way down to almost to my pelvis. And right in the mid, it's right here. Let's tilt that camera. Right about here. I can feel these little nodules because they're right along the incision line from my liver resection, and they're just little bumps. And they feel like peas or peanuts or something right in there. There's 2 or 3 of them. They kind of run together. So if you're following this, the basic bottom line is that I've got a couple of lesions in my liver that have grown appreciably in the last 3 months. I've got a lymph node that is a little bigger than it was 3 months ago, and I've got these soft tissue nodules that are also growing and bigger. And then on top of that, I have a CEA reading, carcinoembryonic antigen, which is the gold standard for tumor markers for colorectal cancer, which jumped from 0.5 in October to 3.7 the other day. So that in 3 months, it jumped up more than 2 points. So that is the bottom line as far as what the data shows, imaging and lab work and stuff like that. So, you know, again, I completely expected it. I expected it. I have been on a treatment holiday, quote unquote, since July. My last round of chemo finished up on the 19th of July. You may remember I had a PET scan in late August because they wondered if maybe, you know, we needed to keep going with some sort of maintenance chemo. But from what they saw in that PET scan in August, they were convinced that we had been very successful with my chemo over the summer and that we could stop. So then I had my regular CT scan at the end of October, and that confirmed that. So when I left my oncologist at the end of October, she said, bye-bye, have fun, you're on treatment holiday for 3 more months, because although I've never been cancer-free. I've never been NED, which is no evidence of disease. However, according to PET scans and CT scans, the disease in my body from the summer did go through a period where it had shrunk, it had shriveled, it had even lost a lot of its metabolic quiescence, according to the PET scan, which means it's not even really, on the cellular level, it's not even really alive and dynamic. But I know, we all know, I've been educated enough to know that cancer cells they take a breather. They go into hibernation. They go dormant for a while. And we all knew that they would sort of rally, and that's what's happened the last 3 months. So not unexpected. I was not upset at all to get this news. I was ready for it, and I think my family and close friends that I'm in contact with all the time, we talked about it, and we were ready for this. And again, I'm just very grateful that there's nothing more serious to deal with, and there's nothing new coming at me. So this is already getting to be an 11-minute video, you guys. I apologize because I like to try to keep them shorter. I'm going back on chemo, and we are already placing the orders. You have to put orders through, not only with the pharmacy for the drugs, but pre-approval for insurance and all that stuff, and that takes several business days. But we're looking at, hopefully, by the second week of February, which is now coming up in 10 or 12 days, hopefully I'll be back on treatment. And that will involve the exact same cocktail of treatment that I was on during May, June, and July of last year. That is capecitabine, a pill that I take 4 of them in the morning, 3 of them in the evening. It converts to 5-FU, which is a drug that way back in the beginning I used to have to carry in a fanny pack for 48 hours after I left my normal chemo treatments, and it went through my PICC line. But now it's in pill form, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. So that's number one. And then secondly, I'll be on panitumumab again. Panitumumab is a drip. It's going to be once every 2 weeks. It will go through a normal IV in my right arm. It takes only about 45 minutes to do that infusion, but of course it's preceded by saline and followed with another saline drip. So the whole process takes an hour and a half or 2 hours. But the side effects are going to be the same as what I dealt with last summer. And you guys may remember I had some serious skin issues. I had very little, if any, nausea. I didn't have a lot of fatigue. I would say a little bit of fatigue, but not much. But the main issue, and you guys remember skin issues, I was super photosensitive. I realized I couldn't be in the sun at all. Of course, this time of the year, the sun is not as big of a problem as it is during May, June, and July. So it won't be such a challenge, but I did learn that I need to not expose myself to the sun at all when I'm on this treatment. Let's see, also, there's other skin conditions like kind of pimply rashes that are all over my chest and even on my neck, my scalp. I don't lose my hair, but my hair kind of thins out, and it also affects my nails, both fingernails and toenails. Cuticles get really weak and very prone to kind of get flaky and soft. I get blisters. Last time I had terrible blisters on my feet. So going into this time, Kenneth, stay out of the sun 100%, even though it's going to be February, March. Still, I got to stay out of the sun, totally. And I need to lotion up. I've got to moisturize my face, my chest, my shoulders, my neck, my hands, the palms of my hands and the soles of my feet especially. So going into this, I think I'm going to be more proactive than I was last year. And again, considering that it's not the high sun, time of the year, combined with the fact that I think I will be better prepared, I don't expect the side effects to be quite as nasty, but they're still going to be there. So I'm going to have to watch for it. And there you go. We're now getting to 15 minutes. I guess that kind of covers it. I don't know what else I'll say. Maybe since I'm going to be getting back onto treatment and stuff, I'll start doing more regular videos. As you know, the last several months I really haven't posted a lot because there hasn't been a lot of new information. And so I've just kind of let it slide instead of updating you guys, because I feel like the updates would have been kind of repetitious. But now maybe we'll have more to discuss, and you know the rest. I always close these videos by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Those of you who follow, I get texts, I get cards, I get emails, I get calls. You guys reach out to me, you know, other WhatsApp or from different places. I know you're there. There's a big gang of you out there that I just always feel supported and loved. And I feel like there's people walking with me, and you that are watching are the reason why I feel that way. So thank you very much. And your prayers are always very much appreciated, and your love and friendship I value, and I don't know what I'd do without it. So anyway, all the best to you guys, and we'll update more when there's more to say. Thank you. Bye.